In this video, we will be replacing the carburetor in this Compac PhD earth auger. After removing the auger bit, we can tip the machine up so the engine is in the upward position. Placing wheel chocks behind the wheels will ensure that it won't roll away from you. Taking a look at our engine, we need to locate the carburetor. This can easily be found by locating the carburetor bowl, which is located on the bottom of the carburetor. For this service, we will need to remove the plastic cover, which will give us access to the carburetor. However, the air filter housing is covering up part of that carburetor shield. Removing our uppermost wing nut will give us access to the air filter. Using a 10mm socket, we can then remove the nuts for our carburetor shield and one additional 10mm bolt on the top. On the carburetor itself, we do have an adapter plate that needs to be removed, and that carburetor should be free to move around a little bit. However, we are still connected by the linkage and our fuel supply line. Now, if I take a look back at my cover, I can see that my lowermost toggle is for my fuel supply, and if it is pushed to the right, that is in the on position. So taking a look at my carburetor, I want to make sure that is to the left, which is in the off position before I disconnect the fuel line. To remove the carburetor, we first need to remove the fuel line, and this can take a little bit of work because it is tucked back in there. We can work that off and carefully remove it so we don't damage it. And using a pair of locking pliers, I can stop the flow of fuel from the tank to the carburetor and then set that aside. We can then maneuver that carburetor off of the studs. If we rotate the carburetor so that our linkage is in line with our opening, we can slide our linkage out, and then we can maneuver the carburetor so that we can remove our spring. And lastly, we have an additional gasket to remove. Our new carburetor kit comes with a variety of pieces. Throughout this process, we will have to select the appropriate pieces that we are replacing and ensure that they are a match for our setup. We're first going to replace our gasket that is located between the mating surface of the engine and the carburetor. Taking a look at our old carburetor compared to our new carburetor, the only difference that I see has to do with our choke selection lever. So I'm going to remove from the old carburetor and install on the new. After that, we can reconnect the linkage and spring. And then slide that new carburetor back onto the posts. Taking a look at our new adapter, they both look the same. and that can go on next. Our fuel line inlet has a cap that needs to be removed so that we can install our fuel line. Then we can slide on our cover, but you want to make sure that the recirculation tube gets connected. And our 3 nuts go next. Before I put the rest of it together, I'm going to run it just to make sure that everything is working and sounds correct. Everything seems to be functioning as it should. I went ahead and purchased a new air filter as well. And at this point, this repair is complete.